Hey y'all, and welcome back. So I owe y'all an apology. I do apologize for Monday not having a devotion up. This weekend was just so busy. There was so much going on, and quite honestly, I was just exhausted. And that's not fair, and it's not right, and I shouldn't feel that way, and I should make time to do it. And so I truly apologize, but I'm still working on projects in here. They're not 100% completed yet, but all those feels good. But we're going to be reading from our little book today. Hold me up a little longer, Lord. The title, this is by Marjorie Holmes, by the way. And the title is It's All Too Much. So if you have this little book, for me, it's on page 43 and 44, but some have told me when they get this book, the page numbers are not the same as mine, which I just think that's crazy, but whatever. But yeah, It's All Too Much is the title. But we had a super productive weekend. I'm just loving everything we got accomplished. I was checking those projects off my list, things that have kind of been hanging over my head. I don't like that. And so I was like, okay, we're getting it done. And so we've painted and upholstered, and we celebrated a birthday, and I stripped furniture, stripped it, sanded it, fixed it, painted it. So it was just a really, really busy weekend. And far as the car, we took it Friday. They were behind. They couldn't take any walk-in repairs, so we had to schedule an appointment. We take it back on the 14th that morning, and I'm just believing it's all the will of God. He's got it. I'm just not even gonna stress it. I've put it all in his hands, and I'm not stressing over it at all. It's totally up to God, and his ways are perfect, and his timing is always perfect. So who am I to critique him, right? Okay. So if you have your little book and you want to read along with me, It's All Too Much. So let's just see how God wants to minister to us today. Oh Lord, sometimes I feel it's all too much. My husband, the children, my job, this house. The house is always ahead of me. I can't catch up. No matter how hard I work, there's confusion and disorder wherever I look. I need help, I cry, but no help comes. Or it is a brief, unsatisfactory, sometimes worse than before. No, it's all up to me, and when I fail, I despair of myself. And the children, I'm so often cross and unreasonable with them, but sometimes they drive me to distraction. Why do they misbehave? Why do they fight? Why don't they do better at school? We try to be good parents, and this is what we get, I think. And my husband is always so busy. He doesn't understand me. I don't understand him. We can't communicate. Where is the joy between us? What happened to our first bright rapport? Responsibilities must have crowded it out. It began to slip away so gradually we didn't even miss it, but I do miss it acutely at times. I grieve for it, and perhaps so does he. So does he. God, thank you for that thought. Bless my husband and let us find each other again. For his sake as well as mine, let the ties of duty and habit be changed to something richer. For his sake as well as mine, drive out the devils of discontent. Lord, bless this house and let me see its beauty even in disorder. Bless these children, their healthy bodies, their lively minds, their dearness. Bless my job. Let me be equal to it and fulfilled in it, or quit. Above all, bless this family that you have put together in these surroundings for me to love and take care of. Thank you that I can bring all this distress before you, God, and feel so healed and cleansed. Well, I understand her. I think we as women, and maybe even men, can understand where she's coming from. Maybe you can relate it to your situations and your role in the house and everything. Not to downplay men at all. I just am not one. I can only speak from my side. And fortunately, Marjorie Holmes is a woman, so I kind of understand her probably more than even the men will understand if they watch and hear this. But I understand it can feel like everything is caving in on you. And I kind of like feel her today with some of the stuff, not the little children part, because, you know, my kids are grown and married and, well, I don't feel the distance between her and her husband, because James and I, we do so much together and we're each other's best friends. But that's been an answered prayer. Let me just say, that's an answered prayer, because as it happens in life, you know, you can, if you don't focus and stay on top of things, and you just kind of like lay things to the side and kind of, I don't want to say take it for granted, because it's really not take it for granted, but maybe not put so much energy and focus onto it as you once did. You know, it can, like she said, you can kind of get, how did she say it? It can gradually slip away, the closeness, you know? And I felt that happening a couple years ago with James and myself, and I was like, no, this is not. And I began praying about it, because, you know, the devil wants to cause division. He wants to cause you to feel, he will try to make you feel ways that's not even true. It's not even that way. But he will try to make you feel that way. And then with him trying to make you feel that way, you start reacting to that, and will sometimes cause issues when there's not even issues there. But that's his trick, and that's his game, and that's what he does. And I just began praying against it, and really praying for my marriage, for my husband, praying God to help him, because, you know, I've said it before, the devil will use the ones you love the most, the closest ones to you. He will use them to hurt you. And it's not even them. They're not even aware that they are being used by him. It is a spiritual warfare. Honest to goodness, it is a spiritual battle. It is spiritual warfare. And whenever I realized that was what was going on, I began praying against it. And it was like you could flip a switch, the difference that would happen. And the Lord really come in and just, I pray for my marriage constantly now. I don't ever want the devil to be able to use something I love so much, that is just my whole world here. He is my everything. He is my soulmate. He is my best friend. He's my closest confidant. He's just everything to me. And I don't want the devil to be able to use him to hurt me and to torment him. I don't want the devil to be able to use our marriage to torment him, to make him feel unhappy and the way things really aren't. So I pray for that, and it's so important. But just as important as it is to pray for our marriages, our home life, it is also that important to pray for our home, to pray for our children, to pray. Like she said, if you notice how she was just feeling, you know, so overwhelmed, just so, honestly, it sounds like she was feeling very unappreciated, very taken advantage of, just like she's doing all this stuff. Nobody's helping her. They don't appreciate, they don't see everything she does. You know, she was kind of feeling that way. Whether it was the way it really was or not, that's how she was feeling. And that matters. It truly matters how we feel. Whether it's the way it is or not. We learned that in counseling. You cannot tell someone how to feel. So if she was feeling this way, this is how it was to her. Whether in actuality, that's how it was. So, you know, her feelings are valid. And she was pouring them out to the Lord. I love that about Marjorie Holmes. She has taught me so much about that we can just go to the Lord raw and unedited and just pour out our heart and soul to him. The good, the bad, the ugly, the stuff we don't want anyone else to know, we can pour it out to him. And as she's doing all of that, and she gets down to her husband, and she's like, she grieves for their, let me go back and see how she says it. Their joy that was between them, you know. It seems that responsibilities must have crowded it out, and it began to slip away so gradually that they didn't even miss it. But she does miss it acutely at times, and she grieves for it. Perhaps so does he. In her praying to the Lord, pouring all of her heart and soul out, she says that one line, and perhaps so does he. And the Lord touches her and pricks her, and she realizes, so does he. God, thank you for that thought. She understands the Lord, in her pouring her soul out to him, is now helping her with her prayers. And he pricks her spirit. So does he. You're not the only one that's feeling this way. He feels this way too. He feels overwhelmed in his job. He feels like he could just cry out for help and nobody's there. He feels that, you know, this, and this. He feels that way too. He misses the closeness y'all once had. He feels that responsibilities have crowded it out. So not only is she feeling this way, she gets that aha moment that the Lord gave to her. So does he. So what does she do with that? You know, the devil would have us say, well, if he feels that way, why doesn't he let me know? But no, she doesn't get that way. She begins praying for her husband. And in praying for her husband, then she starts praying for her children, for her house, for everything in it. And when it's all said and done, after she has poured out all of her feelings, her aggravations, her feeling taken advantage of, feeling taken for granted, husband don't even care, we don't even have our closeness anymore, you know, after she's got through pouring all of that out, there is a shift that changes as she's praying. And this happens so many times for me. I will be praying, and then there will come this shift where the Lord will change me, prick me, and let me realize, and then help me to know how to pray about a situation or many situations, whatever's going on at that time. And then I change the way I'm praying. I've already poured it all out to him. Now I'm going to pray about everything I just said. I'm going to pray about it, or pray against it, or, you know, whatever it calls for. And as she does that, we see this shift take place, and we see this change take place. It's almost like a movie script, a movie. You're just watching this. And then at the end of it, she says, thank you that I can bring all this distress before you. Before you, God. Thank you. I can bring all of this to you, God, and feel so healed and cleansed. In that simple prayer where she starts out so aggravated, then has that aha moment, then starts praying about everything that she was aggravated about. And then she ends up with, thank you, God, that I can just pour my heart and soul out to you. You will then instruct me and help me know how to pray. Then I can pray about everything that I have just said that has just bothered me. And in all of doing all of that, I can now walk away healed and cleansed. Y'all, that is just like God. He is so good like that. I can't tell you how many times he's done this. Just like, you know, the most recent thing is my car. I can tell you I have complete peace about that car. I don't know what is going to happen with that car. I don't know. Yeah, there have been times here recently, even before we took it to the car lot, even the day before, I was so anxious in my spirit. And then I realized why. Why? I've given it to God. I've prayed about this for a year. I've put my faith and all my trust in God. That is important, and that is huge. And He is not going to just say, so what? No. He is going to honor my prayers. He is going to honor my faith. And I can walk away from this feeling healed and cleansed, knowing God is in complete control. And I don't have to stress it. I don't have to worry about it. Does that mean that I won't continue thanking Him for it, but even before it's done? No, I will continue to pray and thank Him for it in advance, for answering my prayer according to His will. Because how many times have I said, He takes all things, the good, the bad, the ugly, the not so comfortable, the not so pretty, all things, and works them for our good. And that's what I'm believing. And He took all of Marjorie Holmes' feelings this day, all of them, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and He worked it all together for her good. And when it was said and done, she thanked God that she could bring everything to Him. And when it was done, she could feel so healed and cleansed. Telling you, there's nothing like the goodness of the Lord. There is nothing like the faith that we have in God. There's nothing that matches it. Nothing. And I'm so thankful that He is always there for us to pour out all our distresses. And not only do we pour them out, He understands them, y'all. He understands them. She could have said this very same thing to her husband, and I guarantee you he wouldn't have understood where she was coming from, how she was actually feeling. And it would have probably caused a whole lot of problems and a whole lot of trouble that would have ended differently than how this ended. Because she was wise enough to take everything she was feeling to the Lord and let Him help her. And in that, then she was able to have some peace, feel healed and cleansed. And I'm sure her day went in a whole different direction in which it started. Oh, I love it. I hope this blesses you. This has blessed me, and it has just kind of given me another one of those little, I see. It's something about being able to see it all play out right before your eyes, start to finish. And it just kind of, it happens that way for us too. We just don't realize it as much. I don't think I realize it as much because it's not written down on a page, But if I was to write it down, then I could see how this kind of happens for me too. I love y'all. I pray you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.